All right, folks, how about a Friday Night Live? What do you say? October 27, 2023. What a timeline we are experiencing. Yes, I did shave before this session here tonight. I tell you what, I get it every single time I do it. I apologize for those that only want to see me with the beard on. We are clean shaven here tonight. And as always, we just try to show up every single day, bringing you guys the up-to-date news when it comes to our cryptocurrency current events and the greatest transfer of wealth in world history. Now, while I got you real quick, you guys know I have a very simple program. I put out my show, I put out my content, and in an effort of full transparency, I try to show you guys what I'm doing when it comes to investments, business, life, and what have you. As we try to decode this reality, we're coming up here on a very interesting spot in the timeline, and now we're starting to see significant price action and some things that, you know, had we'd been talking about for years finally starting to play out. And this is Binance, Tether getting investigated. You know, Senator Cynthia Lummis calling for the investigation of two of the biggest manipulators in the cryptocurrency space. It's been a long time coming. We're starting to clean it up. It's a little bit painful, but Bitcoin in the cryptocurrency space remains resilient as ever. Gold back above $2,000 today. And in the words of BlackRock CEO Larry Fink, this is a flight to quality. Now, this is also a flight to hype, speculation, and you bet. With the internet age, Twitter, and everybody and their brother is an influencer now, and everybody's putting out content, and everybody's an expert when it comes to geopolitics, cryptocurrency, investing, real estate, entrepreneurship, business, whatever the cute thing is, right? The flavor of the day. In the internet age. And so a lot of people are talking, but I just simply ask the question, how's your program working out? Now, that's a sober question to ask many people that, you know, we don't want to talk about that. Oh, we don't want to go down that road, do we? But that's part of being accountable with ourselves and following up and making sure that we're actually taking advantage of the greatest transfer of wealth in world history, not just making a meme about it. See, I was listening to my mentor again today, and I was reminded, he said, this is the greatest transfer of wealth since World War II. And I took that and I added my flavor. I said, this is the greatest transfer of wealth in world history. I think, relatively speaking, comparative, it's pretty dang close. My mentor says, this is the greatest transfer of wealth since World War II. And we forget about the World War II part about this transfer of wealth. When we put out the memes, when we get excited, when we talk about XRP going to 589, we forget about the World War II part of the last time we went through a moment like this. We forget the recession, and then it ended up being a depression, and it was a decade of struggle. What I see right now is the final move to really control humanity. And they have AI, cryptocurrencies, and CBDCs are getting rolled out. And we see the surveillance states already there. 1984 is already a reality. And what you see in the sci-fi movies will be here before you know it. And that includes quantum computers. You know, I was listening to someone in some spaces here earlier today, and they were debating on how far out quantum computers are. And someone was saying that, you know, quantum computers are already here, that I know somebody who bought some quantum computers. And most definitely, we have the military level of intelligence decades ahead of us. Decades with ease. Decades. And it's pretty incredible when you start to see some of this stuff getting revealed, and you bet this moves quantum. You bet they're going to be watching everything. Everything's going to be tracked. Everything's going to be traced. And if you go along with their agenda, I can tell you where you're going to end up. And for some, they're going to own nothing and be happy, just like they say, right? You're going to own nothing. You're going to be very happy. You're going to be within 15 minutes of everything that you know and love. And it's an existence. That's how I'll describe it. It's an existence. Is it truly living? Is it truly having a connection, a purpose, doing something with your, little short time here on this planet? For me, I've found a spot here, and it's bigger than cryptocurrency. It's bigger than talking about making money. I think it's about having an impact and trying to help as many people as possible during a moment where we divide the people amongst the haves and the have-nots. What happens during inflationary periods is the asset prices go up. Very simply put, we don't have to get crazy with all of this economic data, the TA, and the technicalities of the situation. We can keep it very simple. Inflation leads to assets going up. Now, the wealthy and the haves already have plenty of them, and you have folks like myself, little millennial guy, trying to buy my first home. Good luck. And this is the part of the transfer of wealth that we say, wait, hold up. Not everybody gets to win. Everybody gets a participation trophy, like I've been saying. We all get a participation trophy. But what side of the transfer of wealth are you going to end up on? Right? And that's the situation at hand in a nutshell as I try to break it down and how I relate it back to my life and the actions and investments that I take on a daily basis. And where I focus my content is to have the most impact. Is doing an 1.5 hour long live show with an adult beverage the best medium? No. But we also drop shorts, 1 to 3 minutes. And I'll tell you what, everybody loves the short stuff. I got people that love the long stuff too. We do it both. Okay. And I have a little bit of catching up to do. It's been a very busy week for me. And I hope that you guys are getting in tune right now. I'm going to be dropping some more content on taxes and some moves that we can be making for asset protection. Just figuring out what entities we need to create, what trusts we need to create, what do we need to throw into this LLC, into this entity, into this irrevocable trust. I know a lot of people are wondering about that, but even at the most basic level, you can start your business, you can make some investments in your business, and we can start to get some tax advantages. We can start to get onto the haves side of the equation. Like I said, this is a haves and have-nots. And so right now, I'm going to report on it here in just a moment. Jamie Dimon selling JP Morgan Chase stock for the first time ever in the first 17 years since he's been running the company. He is going to be selling off about 1 million shares, I believe, is what it is. Considerable bag for himself. And this is part of the transfer of wealth that we've been talking about, you know. And you got guys like that are having to sell off significant amounts of their equity to get liquid, right? So that's a Rich problem. That's a Jamie Dimon problem. You know, him and his family. And that's the trust that I'm talking about. We get to play by the same rules as these rich. It's just they don't teach us this in school. This is why so many people have no clue what to even do or where to get started. And I don't want to be the guy that's ridiculing the person who's trying to invest in their education and trying to show up. So if that's you, you're in the right spot. I'm going to get into this update. Like I said, we go through current events, tying it all back together to the economic situation back home and how it's going to impact white picket fence American dream. And by the way, that's dead. If you want the quick answer, it's dead as we know it. And if you're not ready to adjust, if you're not ready, you're not prepared for what's coming, you're going to be scared. You're going to be anxious. Everybody has anxiety. Everybody has depression. Everybody has no purpose. See, this is why we got to watch our energy right now, stay focused and locked in. A lot of people are going to try to drag you back down. What we are doing right now is staying focused on what we can control. And what's tough is when you are trying to study these conspiracies and you're trying to catch up on not just the conspiracies, but also making money and doing investments, it's a lot. But at the end of the day, we can't get too lost in the sauce, as the kids say. We got to focus on what we can control. So on a daily basis, what are we doing to move the needle in our own lives? And so I just wanted to, set the tone here with a little rant to get started. Hope you guys enjoyed that. If you appreciate the content that we're putting out on a daily basis, make sure you guys have smashed that thumbs up. Make sure that you've subscribed, hit that notification bell, and you already know the deal. Everything else is at my website, zachrector.com. Precious metals to your door, 401k rollover. We can do both. Precious metals, you got it. And we also have cryptocurrency exchanges along with your wallets. If you want to get tapped in with our group, if you want to get tapped in with me, direct contact. The only place to reach me right now is Patreon Discord group. You sign up for Patreon to get access to Discord. That's a private group that I've had for over 2 years. And I've had people since that very first month still in the group, still within the family. And, I can't say enough about the support that we've gotten. the trajectory that we're on, the momentum behind our community, it's incredibly powerful. And we're just getting started. That's the best part about this situation. God willing, though, we got chaos in the streets. We got the cities on fire. We got current events, world stage, World War III type events breaking down, with the United States launching quote unquote self-defense strikes in Syria. Where have we heard this one before? And we have it popping off. And I say that it's not, it's not lighthearted. It's not a joke. We continue to pray for peace. And so I'm going to start here. I wanted to get that ran off before I had some heavy news to cover. I see we already got a few hundred in here. If you can you guys please share it out far and wide, and let's run it up. To get started here, it's a little bit heavy, but good to know that we did put this evil entity down. Robert Card, I guess was his name. This is the main shooter. Went on a spree. And it looks like he's killed 18 people and he's injured 13 others. Now, my question is, the early reports coming out were like 80-something people were injured. I don't know if that was just media hype or misinterpretation or what happened there. But now they're only reporting 13 injured. But nonetheless, I'm just wondering what's going on here. And it's interesting to watch how media's moving so quick these days. Right. But this had been a manhunt going on here for a while, but it looks like he has died self-inflicted gun wound. He put himself down in a completely cowardly act. Pretty incredible, but that situation is over. Now, take a deep breath. Statement from Hamas leader Ali Baraka. And this is like the house mandatory things we got to get out of the way. From Mario Nafal, huge shout out to Mario for hosting the spaces and rocking it over there on the X platform. Bleeding for the people of the Arab nation. This is a statement from the Hamas leader. The failure of the ground attack launched by the occupation forces on the Gaza Strip through 3 fronts, and there are heavy losses among the enemy's ranks in terms of soldiers and equipment. Now, we reported on this yesterday. Maybe you recall how they launched a little operation into Gaza, but then they retreated. And that was what the West was reporting, was that it was a little operation, and then basically they retreated back to Israeli territory. Well, Hamas leader is saying that they basically pushed this back on 3 fronts. The enemy fell into ambushes prepared by the Palestinian resistance on a number of fronts. And since the beginning of the battle, there have been defensive plans against any attempt. Kornet missiles and Yasin missiles were used to repel that attack, and we expect the enemy to try again. The Israeli occupation used helicopters to evacuate the wounded and dead from the battlefield. Now, yesterday we reported on the strikes. The United States finally, I guess officially, even though we haven't declared war, and we're not going to declare war, and that is unconstitutional, and we are broke, but that point aside, we've officially entered with operations, and my military sources are telling me that we're moving a lot more equipment that way, unfortunately. And so this is why I'm praying for peace, because we need to wrap this situation up hopefully soon. But it looks like they're preparing for a longer war. Iran's warning, right, pushing back. And what we have is a bunch of groups that have been backed by this and that, right? These are Iranian-backed groups in Syria and Iraq that, Syria, we've been launching 2 facilities we striked the other day. And these are Iran-backed groups. Remember, we just gave $6 billion to Iran. We've been giving billions to everybody. We've been giving weapons to everybody. And the people of the world are finding themselves in desperate straits. The war energy is picking up, and it's very unfortunate to see. When we're on the precipice of the 4th Industrial Revolution and what could be one of the most magnificent times for the human experience, here we are, and it almost is, folks describe it as biblical, call it what you want. It's pretty incredible. And we haven't lived through this in 50 plus years, not just the wars that we're living through, but the economic changes as well. Now, we've been talking about the economic changes, and we didn't know that Putin was going to start the military operations in Ukraine February of last year. That battle's still going on. Territory has been claimed. And It's incredible. Right now, guys, land and resources are being taken and life is being lost, unfortunately. There is a sacrifice that is being paid for these battles, and there's big interest behind it. And so we have operations in Ukraine. We've sent over 100 billion plus. We've lost track of how much we've sent over there. We've sent a plenty, we're trying to get some weapons over there too. And now we have a skirmish in the Middle East, which skirmish is probably a little light, but that's relatively speaking what it's been so far. On the 50-year anniversary of the Yom Kippur War, and we're going through a monetary shift that we haven't seen essentially since 1971 when Nixon took us off the gold standard, or you can go back to the Bretton Woods Agreement in 1944 after World War II, greatest transfer since World War II. It's there. It's not just a meme. It's not just something that we share and everybody's going to be a winner. So I say that to reiterate the point. I'm praying for peace right now, but I'll keep you guys up to date on this situation as best that I can, and I'll give you guys my opinion on what I can share. A lot of this I have to take to the private conversation because you guys know during times of war, the media is under incredible scrutiny. And these topics are very divisive. This war in particular is very divisive. And right now, the main point that I've been bringing, and I just want to finish on this, is remember what I've been saying. This activates agents back home. That's the concern for America. That's the concern for Europe. You have to understand, we got agents from various groups from both sides have agents, and we have enemy agents that are within this country. And so we got to stay vigilant and we got to stay ready. With that being said, let's get right into this flight of quality, folks, into the economic data, into the cryptocurrency stuff. This is what you are here for. And I just try to keep it real. We got some situations breaking down that are pretty incredible and that are picking up the shift. See, this is really what's moving things along. It's not a game. This is a war. And so this is very serious. Let's get right on into it, folks. Cryptocurrency remaining strong. Bitcoin at 34,000. So cooling off slightly here, but hanging out at 34,000, finding support. Ethereum at 1789, just below 1800. And XRP back down to 54.5 cents, down 1% today. A slight pullback for XRP, but still holding strong. Bitcoin at 34K. Watching it closely. You guys see this on the 4-hour chart. 34,000 has been maintained, and we've tapped off the 35K level a couple times based off of the Bitcoin hype, the ETF narrative. All the way back here on Monday the 16th, remember, that was the fake news, Bitcoin ETF spot approval. That was not true. That started the party. And over the last week, the last 2 weeks, you see what we did, right? And this pump happened on Monday. Everybody got excited again earlier this week. And then we've hanged out at about the 34K level all week, other than another bounce up to 35K on Wednesday. On hump day, sure enough, on hump day, we did a little move there. And this kind of looks like a head and shoulders to me. Look out. That's the call that I've been making. You guys know that deal. XRP at 54.5 cents, back down slightly here. Very interesting to watch this coin. This coin has been one of the most suppressed and one of the most rigged assets in the world. So easy to see, so clear to see. DXY was back down here today, actually. DXY was back down to lower 106, but still maintaining, relatively speaking. What did we get on our treasuries? We got back down for our treasuries. 5% on the 2-year is where we're at right now, and 4.8 on the 10-year. So cooling off here once again on the treasuries, watching that. Oil sideways at 88. Watching it closely, but we get a pump for silver today, back above $23 per ounce. Love to see it. And we get a pump for gold, 2,000. Now, remember, guys, I never talk about buying the pumps on cryptocurrencies, but the situation with precious metals is interesting. I just simply have my links down below if you guys are looking to get help there. Like I said, you guys know that deal. Roll over your 401k, retirement savings, or we can get the metal shipped directly to you. I don't say that to try to get you to buy into the green candles, but this is a move that we've been talking about, a historical move that we've been talking about. And Peter Schiff today, of course, he's, kind of he likes his gold. We know that. He said this could be the last time that gold's under, or that gold trades under 2,000. And that was earlier today before gold had finished off the pump above 2,000. It was trading at 1994. And I saw Peter Schiff tweeted out, this could be the last time that gold is sub 2,000. It reminds me of us in the cryptocurrency space, right? This is the last time XRP is going to be sub 50 cents. How many times have we been here? But like I said, I just want to help you guys be able to facilitate that so we can get the metal shipped directly to you. We can roll over the 401k. Just let our people know. It's linked up down below or at my website, ZachRector.com. But gold back up above 2,000 today. Love to see it. The flight to quality is real, and silver $23 per ounce. Okay, now this has been interesting to watch. Nvidia getting wrecked back down to 405. So back down here, and remember, I really have just started watching this here recently more closely on Nvidia, just because I knew we were kind of approaching the top level. But sure enough, back down here for Nvidia today, and we're trading at 405 right now after hours. S&P 500 back down, and this thing's been stair stepping down. I keep on having to adjust my chart every time I pull up the S&P 500 and the Dow. I got to shift it down to 32.4 for the Dow and at 4,117 for your S&P. Now, cryptocurrency overall market cap hanging out here at 1.2. Basically just floating right here, matching Bitcoin. And then the Bitcoin dominance remaining there as well, above 50%, 53.98, at about 54% Bitcoin dominance. Okay. Now, this is the news that we've been watching right here. Bloomberg finally catching on. Worst October for stocks in 5 years has investors exiting market. Active manager poll positioning shows investors reduce risk. Bond volatility adds pressure amid a mixed earnings season. Yeah, so what's happening is the stocks are starting to roll over as the bond market has its worst year ever last year and is on pace to have another historically bad year too. So folks don't know where to go. This is why so many have gone to market, just cash money markets, is because they're just putting their cash on the sidelines. They don't know what to do. For me, I think, it's very simple. I'm saving silver, and then I have a cash allocation for buying more assets. That's what I'm doing right now. For me, the bonds, I'm not going to do that devil with the United States. But for those who want to partake, sure, it's back up to 5%. For me, it's not it. But we're seeing many people trying to find that flight to quality. For me, it's been precious metals, cryptocurrency, and cash. The VIX is at 20. Stocks are on the brink of their worst October in 5 years. And every other day, the bond market throws a fit. For equity bulls conditioned to dive in at any sign of weakness, it's getting to be too much. Well, this is reality. Eventually we have to bring this thing back down to earth, okay? And we got to bring this thing back down to real value. Across investor categories, they're pulling money out and hardening a posture that is by some measures the most defensive in over a year. Well, this is why I don't do the middle. Like I said, I got silver on the sidelines, right? That's savings. And then I got cash ready to deploy. And with the investments that I do make, it's all in. Businesses and digital assets like XRP, all in. Savings, silver. I save cash, but it's not to save to store wealth. It's to set aside to stay liquid. Cash for liquidity, silver for savings. When I do deploy, we go to kill, metaphorically speaking, on the financial battlefield. We're not looking to make 5% on our money. A promise from the U.S. government right now for your 2-year and your 10-year. Thank you very much. I'll pass. I wouldn't even take them up on a short term. My man Stuart coming through. Shout out Australia. The hundo spot. Stuart, are you kidding me again? October 27th, gold now 2,000 plus. If gold stays over 2,000 by November 9th, it's off to the races. Stuart, you already know. And you're already seeing it in countries like China, the Shanghai Futures Exchange premium. See, if we're at 2,000 per ounce, they're at 2,100. They're paying a premium over there. Plus, you're paying a premium on top of that to the dealer. they could be paying $2,200 per ounce right now in China, if you can even get it. And if you can get it, good luck getting it out of the country. And what's really shaking things up right now, folks, the United States, we always talk about the United States, but China going through one of the most significant contractions right now in modern times. Okay, it's bleeding out. It has a full-on credit and debt crisis, and 25% of the GDP is made up from real estate, and their real estate sector is essentially dead. They've had to change their restrictions and limits and their rules for mortgages and getting approved for loans over there in China because their real estate's gone dead, essentially. And they're tearing down ghost cities. That's how far they overbuilt. That's how fake their real estate market was. Now, our real estate market was propped up in part by a lot of Chinese investors trying to get their capital out of the country. And so they came to Vancouver, they came to Seattle, San Francisco, anywhere else across the pond, down there to Sydney, Australia. Wherever they could get their capital out to, they were ready to come and deploy because they were just trying to get it out of there. And now it's collapsing. And you're seeing that the bank crisis, we keep on getting reports. It's very tough to get reports out of that country and good, solid news. But yeah, it's breaking down quickly over there. And Stuart, I appreciate the super chat. You're spot on. As long as gold can maintain this level of 2,000, it's inevitable, right, that we get that breakup. And I've been watching this thing too. Even if we get pullbacks, we have such great support above 1,800, above, I mean, even worst case scenarios, even above 1,600, which I don't rule out based off of how bad the recession could get. Now, this is a monetary shift, and gold is the answer for countries around the world. That's what makes this global recession different, is it's a monetary shift as well. The underpinning of the monetary order is shifting, and it's being realized once again at a new level, i.e. Basel requirements upping how much gold banks and institutions have to have backing. And then you're seeing worldwide, these countries are moving to gold. They're importing more. They're no longer exporting gold out of some of these countries, right? They're only keeping it for themselves. And talk about reporting out of China, they finally have started admitting that they've been buying gold, which is an absolute joke, right? They've been buying for years, right? They've been eating it up. And you can't even get a good report on how much is getting, coming out of the ground out there because you're trusting who. Just like Robert Kiyosaki said, when he invested in that country and he went to buy, he got a gold mine, and as soon as they found gold, the government just took it. That's how they operate. Now, my mentor, Dan Pena, he said that he went with his son to go buy up a bunch of oil refineries or something over there in the same country. And part of doing due diligence, his son got them a helicopter to fly around and go check all these places. And he said they were all scrambling when they went to go fly around to check all these places because you know what? They didn't exist. They didn't exist. There was 15 some refineries or whatever they were buying. It was some sort of operation. I believe it was refineries of some sort because he was in the oil business. And his son rented the chopper so they could go fly around and check them. They weren't even there. and so that's the level of misinformation that we're getting out of that country. And that comes back to gold, right? This is what the world is after. And it comes back to silver. This is what the world needs. And we had a 230 million ounce deficit last year for silver. It's going to be interesting to see how much of a deficit that we have this year, but I'm expecting another one as well. Now, appreciate the love there. Appreciate the love, guys. Thank you so much. I'm going to get to some Q&A. I got a little bit more news to get through. A little bit more to get through, and then we'll get to your Q&A. Thank you so much, guys. What we're seeing right now, stocks. Worst October for stocks in 5 years. No, we have a ways to go. Equities haven't even corrected yet. Long ways to go. And Jamie Dimon knows it. And his family plan to sell 1 million shares of JP Morgan. This marks the first time Jamie will sell stock during his 17-year tenure as the leader of America's largest bank. What's next? Well, we've been seeing the question is which, bank CEO is going to dump his stocks next, right? And it's not that JP Morgan's necessarily going to fail. It's that this is this is part of restructuring, and Jamie Dimon needs liquidity. And I tell you what, Jamie Dimon and his buddies at JP Morgan, they need to be ready to defend themselves in lawsuits. If you've been paying attention, JP Morgan has already paid hundreds of millions of dollars in settlements and fines for you know what that I can't talk about on this show. And so Jamie and his buddies got some problems, and they got some big checks to cut. Yeah. So Jamie Dimon needs a little bit of liquidity, selling his stock for the first time in 17 years. And go compare this with all the other sells by some of the leading CEOs of companies across the board, including NVIDIA, one that I've been calling. And right, we called NVIDIA, here in the last couple months. I've really been warning about NVIDIA here as of late, that this thing's ready to roll over, along with the rest of the equities. I've been saying all of the stocks are ready to roll, and the bank CEOs know it. You guys, you have to understand that 700 banks had to tap into these special credit facilities, and the reverse repo's gone to all-time high once again. But they won't release the names of those 700 banks and institutions that had to tap into that. And this is why they're trying to adjust the FDIC insurance as well, is because the banking crisis was just getting started in March. Right? So we had the tech layoffs in the end of last year. Then we had the banking crisis at the start of this year, March. And now you're starting to see the equities finally start to roll over, and you're seeing real estate start to roll over. Now, crypto got killed in November of last year. That's the good news in crypto, is we already got sacrificed last year with Sam Bankman-Fried's lunar eclipse sacrifice. By the way, we're coming up on a lunar eclipse. That's going to be coming up tomorrow, right? It's the Hunter Harvest full moon, along with the partial lunar eclipse. Pretty incredible. Pretty incredible what's happening up in that sky. Now, this is what I was saying. The rats are starting to jump ship. The foundation of the financial system is shaking. The chapters are still being written. Go look at how many of these CEOs have just stepped down completely. Not just dumping their stock, they've stepped down completely. And they know the ship's going down. This is the real estate situation that's so painful. So painful. Mortgage applications are now down 50% since the start of 2023 and at their lowest level since 1994. This is why I laugh at the headline that the stocks are the worst in 5 years. No, we're going back decades for the type of correction that we're going to see for all of the assets, not just equities, real estate too. You want to go back to the great financial crisis. You want to go back to the dot-com bubble. That relates kind of back to crypto. It all kind of relates back. And if this goes on longer, as some of us are, speculating it could, then you mix in a little bit of the depression, the Great Depression flavor into this, financial storm, financial hurricane, in the words of Jamie Dimon, speaking of the devil. Yeah, this is it. We're going back to 1994 for your mortgage applications. That is death. And I just heard an interesting stat, I don't have it in front of me, about the amount of mortgage lenders that have resigned or left their jobs. It has been like 20,000 per month for the last year. And we've lost over like 100,000 people that work in the mortgage lending business just within the last year, since the peak of the market last year. Right? Real estate really peaked out last year. We had all the final effects of COVID and low interest rates, and the supply shock that we kind of had in real estate sent real estate to the highs of 2022 for many markets. But real estate's already down 15% year over year across the board. We're already down 15%. And then when you look at commercial real estate, it's down 20, 30 in some markets, San Francisco and other cities, and commercial real estate sector, 60, 70, 80%, right? I mean, we might as well do what that country that starts with a C does and just start tearing down some of these buildings and cities. I mean, what are we doing? And that's why I said one of the biggest opportunities for us as real estate investors going forward is going to be commercial conversion. There's such a misallocation of resources that we have now within the real estate industry and sector, in the housing market more broadly speaking. But we compare this data with the lowest levels of applications for mortgages since 1994, mortgage demand is now 25% below the level seen at the 2008 lows, according to Reventure Consulting. This comes as mortgage rates have crossed above 8% and home supplies remain at historic lows. This is the big catalyst why some markets are still going up, is because we are at historic lows and there's a shortage of quality housing in quality neighborhoods. Some would argue that there's a shortage of quality neighborhoods in this country now. I mean, it's gone crazy. Existing home sales are at their lowest since 2010, with 90% of borrowers locked in to significantly lower rates. The housing affordability broke below the 2008 bottom and is now at an all-time low. There has never been a worse time to be a home buyer. Little millennial guys like me, we're so screwed. But we're not. Because we're remaining patient, we're getting liquid, and we're going to be ready to move. And we're going to be part of bringing, some of these adjustments to reality back in. Because you thought your house, you read on Zillow that your Zestimate was $1 million last year, and now your Zestimate's cooled off slightly. It's $950. But your house is what somebody is willing to pay and close on. And another real estate data point that I was listening to earlier this week is that the amount of people backing out is moving back up to levels that we haven't seen in decades either. The amount of people backing out of contracts. Some people choosing to lose their deposit because they just can't execute the deal. They don't want to execute the deal, right? For whatever reason. The average monthly mortgage payment is a whopping 52% higher than the average monthly rent on a house or apartment, the highest amount since the 2008 housing crash, per the Wall Street Journal. And this is why you got to understand your market. You got to understand the real estate asset class and where you're at, right? I can't give general, I'm not here to be anybody's financial advisor, so I'm not here to give any advice on any asset class, but I couldn't, even if I tried, give general real estate advice to you because I don't know your situation, I don't know your market. Now, when it comes to investing, well, you got to go where the money where it makes sense, right? And that's only in a few select markets and in specific sectors of real estate. There are still people making plenty of money in real estate. There's still folks that have plenty of cash flow, and there's still plenty of money to be made in the real estate game. Absolutely. There's going to be so much money to be made, actually. But you're playing by a different set of rules. And so let me know in the comments down below. Are you in a market where it is cheaper to rent than it is to buy? That's a good thing to understand right now before you make a decision, because this is where you might, try to sell your house, but you're not going to be able to, find a place to move into. And that's where so many people are locked in. Or you might be better off being a renter, and it's okay to be a renter. Doesn't mean that you have to move to the 15-minute city and own nothing and live happily ever after. You can own, some other assets. Maybe you don't need to own the home. Maybe you don't need to do that deal. Maybe you don't need to have a little McMansion. The average size of the American homes is, just gone up like a hockey stick, right? And we are building some big houses. And folks find out how much it actually is to maintain some of those McMansions, right? And as we're seeing inflation and the cost of services going up, it's only going to be more costly and expensive to make these deals work and to afford these properties, right? Many folks getting blindsided by taxes and by other expenses related to owning a home right now. This is a problem for so many folks. And for me, that's why I want you guys to understand the real estate asset class, is because we don't need to just blindly follow the story that we've been told that under any cost, or no matter what the cost, we need to buy the white picket fence American dream home. That's not necessarily the case. As a young hustler like myself, that's fine. Like I said, we're ready to snipe a deal when it comes across. I'm not going to rush into that. When it comes to real estate investing, we're getting our ducks in a row, and you bet we're going to be moving in a major way on real estate over the coming 5 to 10 years. The portfolio that we build over the next 5 to 10 years is a generational wealth portfolio that we get to hand on down to the children, along with our silver, along with our XRP potentially, right? These are the assets that we're going to be locked into for, a significant amount of time. And there's going to be plenty of money to be made in the hustle too of real estate. So, I think that it was sexy to be a real estate investor. Everybody wanted to be in the real estate asset class. And while interest rates were low, it made sense to lock in these low rates. It's a great asset for many people. But you have to understand how the rules have changed, and you can't just allow your real estate broker to talk you into a deal, to sell you on a investor alert property with a 4 cap, with a 5 cap, when you could go get a 5 cap from the U.S. government with no effort. Why do I need to go get a 5 cap being a real estate investor? Obviously, you have tax advantages in your real return. The real rate of return can be a lot more than your cap rate. That's a little bit on the sophisticated side of real estate investing, but to keep it simple for you guys, yes, we are seeking out returns that need to be well above 10 and 20%, well above that. And that's why we're looking for these 100% moves in digital assets. We're looking for, potentially even 100% moves for precious metals. Even though that's an insurance play, we could see 100% plus moves, and we see 100% plus, 1,000% plus on the investments that we can make in real estate or in our businesses. That's where we get those big hitter deals. The next move too for so many of us is going to be the private equities. And that's a deal that we have to look at as well and consider how to do that deal properly. Because as we step into this, we're not counting on a financial advisor to invest our 401k or our investments if we're starting from the ground up like a young fella like myself, right? We can't count on a financial advisor to line us up into the 60-40 portfolio with some index funds and, we can get a little exposure to tech. And that's not how the big hitters do it. That's not how we build generational wealth. And that's taking a defensive posture, which is not what we are doing. My mentor told me, run towards the gunfire and take no prisoners. Okay, roger that. That's how we operate. And so we're looking for the big kills. With part of our portfolio, I don't need a significant percentage gain, although I do think that silver can appreciate significantly. This is defensive measure. And we take defensive measures. We have our prepping, we have essentials, food, you name it, and we have cash so that we can sleep well at night. But on a daily basis, we go out to hunt with the big dogs, right? And this is why so many people have such a struggle understanding where their 401k is even at, where their retirement's at, is they've never even thought about this stuff, let alone trying to implement a plan and a strategy. This is why I'm trying to get everybody caught up to speed on all of these asset classes, all of the moves that we're making as it relates back to the current events. And when I tell you that the land and the business and the resources are for the taking, they are for the taking. This next one shows you. This is from the CVS on H Street in Washington, D.C. Due to the out-of-control theft, they have now put away almost all their items and just have photographs of what is in stock. You press the button and the sales associate gets you what you need. I was in Barcelona, Spain a few months ago and saw Mac laptops sitting out in the middle of the store. This is how we live in America now. This is the third world. Now, 2 points. First off, just wait till we go to CBDC land like they do over there in China, where, if you're a good boy, if you're a good citizen or a slave, you'll be able to get access to whatever you need to buy at the grocery store. If you're a bad person or, you have a bad credit score, social credit score, that is, then maybe you don't get a buy, right? And so that's where this goes to. But the other point that I wanted to make is that we just saw that Rite Aid, one of the most popular convenience stores and pharmacy franchise chains in America, just filed for bankruptcy. Now, the reason why it's incredible to me, because this is a company in a business that is offering essentials that is not being beat by Amazon, although folks are starting to get their essentials delivered through Amazon, right? We get that. But a lot of people still go to the convenience store when they need something, right? You need it that day or you want it right away, Or you want your pharmacy too, which is very big business in America. We know that, right? You still have to go and physically pick up your stuff. But the reason, see, that business is just as strong as ever. But the reason why these stores are having to shut down in America and why Rite Aid is filing for bankruptcy is because some of the locations, thousands of the locations, are no longer feasible sites to even own property, let alone try to run a convenience store out of. That's the truth. And so they're shutting down thousands of their stores. And Rite Aid is comparable to CVS. They're both the same convenience stores with pharmacies included that are on the main street of every town in America that's decent in size, right? And they are shuttering the doors on 2,000, I believe was the number that I read. Thousands of these stores they're shutting down. And so, like I said, this is for the taking, right? Now, in some of these areas that you go to invest in, you might have to go in strapped, if you know what I mean, because it might get a little hot in there. But it's going to be there for the investor, for those that want to seek out and find the opportunity. And when you're seeing some of the biggest companies like Rite Aid laying off thousands, and CVS did the same thing too, laying off thousands of their corporate staff, that's not a good sign. And we knew that the bankruptcies were coming, but sure enough, just recently that was confirmed, and it is incredible what we're seeing right now in the cities of the United States. Now, more broadly speaking, we are starting to see that gradually the entire planet is starting to get fascinated with gold. Right as currencies race to zero against each other, this is just history repeating. It's been interesting to see that, you know, the mainstream still not really covering it, maybe touching on it here and there. And now you're starting to see the likes of some of the biggest billionaires, even, Jamie Dimon, Larry Fink, and others talking about this flight to quality. And they might mention precious metals have a somewhat of a play, right? A little hedge, maybe a couple percentage points. Meanwhile, we see that the central banks have been buying more gold than they have in the last 50 years. So the hedge fund managers tell you that, oh yeah, there's a little role for precious metals. Meanwhile, the central bank managers of the government's treasuries, essentially, well, we know they're not actually part of the government. They're part of the private banking cartel. They're loading up on more gold than we've seen in the modern times. Now, what I wanted to add to this point is that we're seeing folks get fascinated not only with precious metals, we're seeing them get fascinated with real commodities. And it's a matter of survival. You can call it a fascination, but this is also a new fascination, a new discovery of DLT technology and how you tokenize gold and how you tokenize a country's oil supply. This is where we start to level out the playing field. Will it ever be a completely level playing field? Never. But this is where we start to get balanced out. And the rest of the world is moving at full speed. The United States, we're still getting lied to by our Federal Reserve, by our government, and by the likes of Hester Pierce as we roll on into the cryptocurrency update, who wants to put out an overdue thought on our case against Library. Oh, how nice. Thank you so much, Hester Pierce, for giving us absolutely a late and well overdue thought on our case against Library, which has been an absolute joke. And what I love to see is our good friend Steven Narioff coming in and laying it down as he has been so well. Commissioner Pierce, respectfully, I have some questions for you. And I'm not going to read all this because this is actually a long thread. But just to reiterate the point, our good friend, and he tagged me down here below, huge shout out to Steven, along with, he's just tagging the whole XRP army. Love to see it. This guy, he is over the target. And this is what we've been talking about, guys. The ball's in our court now. We're starting to have a victory as we push back. I see XR Peaky Blinder, thoughts and prayers to Shannon and her husband for their loss. May you find peace and comfort in the coming days. Oh no, what happened? Hey, XR Peaky, thank you for the love. What happened to Shannon? Oh no. Oh no, Shannon, I'm sorry to hear that loss. I'm sorry to hear that loss, Shannon. My thoughts and prayers with your family. That's our Discord family, guys, if you're wondering. That's Yeah, we'll be thinking and praying of you tonight, Shannon. Thank you so much for being with us. Incredible times, folks. May God be with us. Stuart, goodness gracious, brother. At least you're lightening the mood here with dropping the hundo Aussie bucks, whatever your Aussie bucks are called. Thank you, brother. Appreciate you. 11% of Aussie ATMs and bank branches have closed in the last 5 years. I wish they would wake up. You're seeing it, right? We're shutting it down. Your convenience stores, your ATMs, we're going to a completely digital, completely live at home, live in your little apartment, live in your little studio coffin apartment, right? Don't leave for nothing. And then when you do leave, you just walk, ride your bike. Don't you dare own a vehicle. Isn't that something? Yeah, the ATMs and the bank branches closing down. It's a new world that they're creating right now. Happening right before us. 100% confirmation. Don't spend it all in one place. Just a little green to balance the red, Stuart. LOL. You the man, Brother Z. XRP, I appreciate you for the super chats and the love, brother. Thank you so much, guys. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Okay. Our good friend Steven. This is it. He's been calling it out, and it's so good. It's so great to see this, because this is why. Oh, your red folder 50K buyback. Guys, so many people missed the point with that. This was the point. What our good friend Steven is doing right now. His SEC led a 4-year fabricated criminal case against me, and I believe discovery will prove he was aware and or approved it. This is powerful. Hashtag stay tuned. Tags us in the XRP army. And he's sharing the quote here from Jay Clayton, who's still making the rounds, on CNBC, of course, making the rounds. Quote, when you have the power of the state, you're supposed to only bring cases that you think are going to pass judicial muster. This is from Jay Clayton, the guy who filed the SEC lawsuit against Ripple on his last day in office. Right? These guys, with their own words, are exposing themselves. Kind of similar to what Sam Bankman-Fried was doing in court yesterday. The judge, I forget what the term is called, when basically the prosecutors were asking him a question and the judge made them stop. I forget the term for that. But basically they said, no, you don't have to answer that. There's prejudice or whatever the case may be. You guys know what I'm talking about. And Sam Bankman-Fried still answered the question. And his lawyers are like, come on, dude, what are you doing right now? And this reminds me of what Jay Clayton and what Gary Gensler, these guys are doing. They're so full of themselves. They're so much narcissistic psychopaths that they just can't help themselves. Jay Clayton still making the rounds. Gary Gensler, the good guy, squirming around in his little suit, out here to protect us. And you got our good friend Steven Narioff exposing it all. We have Sam Bankman-Fried exposing himself in court. And you used the words of Gary Gensler while he was teaching at MIT, completely exposes the SEC and all of the premises that they're standing on right now as we speak. And we know that there's no reason why they shouldn't have approved a Bitcoin spot ETF already. But where we went with the red folder conversation was a conversation about not only were we right on the facts and the circumstances about XRP, we got that, guys, but the red folder and that conversation still is relevant because we still don't have the level playing field, and the crimes and the corruption that these guys committed, we can't let just go. And we have to actually check the structure of what we're doing here with these bureaucracy beast agencies that are running amok, going after every American citizen possible that, is trying to actually help humanity, like Ripple, the transparency company, transparent folks like Steven, trying to do the right thing. But they did a 4-year fabricated case against him. And what do? This is straight out of the show Blacklist. They scoop you up. I don't think that they covered Steven's. I don't think that they put the bag over his head. I don't think that they did that. I'll have to check with Steven. I'm still hoping to get Steven on the show here. He said he would be glad to come on, but he's got some exclusive deals, and I can't wait. They're going to be making a Netflix documentary out of this guy. But if you want to know what it looked like, you can just watch the show Blacklist. What they did is they picked Steven up and they threw him in the van. This is the Department of Justice, FBI, and the SEC. fabricating a 4-year case against this guy, completely trying to ruin him. And now he doesn't even own XRP. Imagine that. If we take Steven on his word, which he seems like a pretty legit, honest, forward-coming guy, and he seems like he's just, this is the type of stuff that you get. I mean, we got to be careful talking about Steven, right? And what he's doing. Because you get, I don't want to say it, they don't like this. They don't like this at all. And what we're starting to see is a little bit of accountability. We have the new Speaker of the House. We start to see a little glimmer of hope. We start to see a couple folks take the stand on both sides of the aisle when it comes to crypto. But it needs to be both sides of the aisle when it comes to reining back in the United States government and more broadly, the 3-letter agencies that have caused so much harm and damages to not just the XRP community. This is the country as a whole. And this is anybody who's trying to make an investment. Because if Gary Gensler had his way, you wouldn't be able to invest in private equity, period, until you got to a net worth of $10 million to reach accreditation standards. They don't believe that you're worthy of investing your own money. And they make sure that their buddies, their buddies that they've got backdoor deals with are the winners. See, my mentor, he actually suggested 2 shows, Secession and Billions. He said those are the 2 shows right now where you can get a glimpse at what it's like for the high level big hitters. And in Secession, it's about a family, a big media company and the family that runs that media company. And then with Billions, it's about the Southern District in New York, Department of Justice, Southern District of New York, and the prosecutor there and attorney general there, I guess, going after a hedge fund billionaire and in the fight there between, billionaire hedge fund and the Southern District of New York and the Department of Justice, more broadly speaking, and in cohorts with the SEC and the FBI. Both these shows, especially I've been watching Billions as of late, really show you how this game's played. And it's all backdoor. It's all, I scratch your back, you scratch my back, and they do other things behind closed doors that are crazy. And this is the crazy thing, is that we just wanted a level playing field. But they decided to come after the entire XRP community. It wasn't enough to just go after the company Ripple. They included the executives, Brad and Chris, even though there was no basis really for doing that. And sure enough, we were vindicated by saying that, because now the SEC has surrendered the case against Brad and Chris. So for those of us that have been shouting damages, clearly right there is an admission of wrongdoing, and the SEC having to retreat and do a complete surrender on their case against Brad and Chris. I don't have my red folder on my desk, but this is when I wave my red folder around. And I understand some folks say, oh, dude, put your red folder away. The red folder is overplayed. No, the red folder is not overplayed until we get justice. The red folder is not overplayed until we root out this corruption and get it out of our country. These guys are a disease, and it's mafia tactics, right? And if you don't play ball, or in the case of Ripple, you're a company that sets up offices in DC, tries to be completely transparent, doesn't conduct an ICO, only raises funds from accredited investors for your company, right? All of your fundraising has been done on the up and up. All of your business operations done on the up and up. Did FinCEN get you for not KYC and AML, compliance for every single person that you were selling XRP to? Yes. So you were happy to pay them the fine of $15 million and start doing KYC and AML of everybody that you were selling XRP to. And now we find that Judge Torres rules that institutional sales were a security investment contract, which isn't a surprise for many of us, because we noted deals like R3's options contract, which clearly meet some definitions of an investment contract. Does it meet all of the prongs of the Howey test? We'd have to see the contract to really know. But from what we do know, it looks like it does. And so that's a type of sale that, sure, might have been an investment contract. But to include the case against Brad and Chris was wrong. And to say that every sale on the secondary market of XRP was a security was wrong. And the damages that caused were massive. And if you want me to put a dollar amount on it, I'm not afraid to do that. I'm not afraid to speculate on that. And it's a lot of speculation and no one will ever know. That's the thing about damages is you never know because we never get to live that reality out. That's an alternative reality that we don't get to experience, i.e., why we missed the last bull run. And the market cap of XRP could have easily eaten up hundreds of billions of dollars. And Ripple's already had to spend $200 million fighting this case. Who knows how many partnerships they've lost? You're talking about billions. And you look at what XRP could have done if it had participated in the last bull run. You know, you're talking about potentially, I throw out the number, over $1 trillion in damages done to the XRP community. That's just this little XRP story, guys. This is so small compared to the daily corruption and backdoor deals that are happening every single day. And you guys know, with all the stock trading from the Congress, men and women that's being exposed right now, it is truly incredible. But the good news is that through the decentralized media, we're exposing it all. And goodness, thank God that in the United States, we still have somewhat of a rule of law. Because as we expose this, we get to bring our cases, we get to bring our claims, as Stephen has shown, and he won his case, completely won his case. And the cases were dismissed upon prejudice, and he completely won his case. It was a 4-year fabricated criminal case. We had a nearly 3-year, it was about a 2.5-year long lawsuit that was an overextension of the judicial, of the regulatory arm of our government. And thank God we had the checks and the balances in the form of Judge Torres, who we had our concerns about, right? We were a little concerned about some of her leanings and some of the flavors that she likes. But she came through and she has done fantastic with her rulings on this case. I think that she's done a fantastic job. And what we've been talking about now, as we approach settlement season, and we've been in settlement season, by the way, we're still in settlement season, is that if the SEC wants to get anything from Ripple, the best thing that they're going to be able, the only chance that they're going to be able to get money from Ripple and not have Ripple appeal this potentially would be to settle this up with Ripple agreeing not to appeal the institutional sales. So instead of getting the full $770 million that is included in the institutional sales that the SEC says are institutional sales and Judge Torres has ruled as an investment contract, some of those were ODL, which Ripple has a strong case that those weren't investment contracts. And to look at Ripple's cards right now, we understand that they have everyone at the SEC that was there, that made those decisions. Bill Hinman, Jay Clayton, Gary Gensler, many more. And if the SEC wants to actually be able to collect a check, the best, the way to confirm collecting that check would be to settle up right now with Ripple. Because even if the judge rules in their final judgment that say Ripple needs to pay a fine of $500 million, Ripple then gets to appeal. And as Jeremy Hogan just predicted in his bold prediction, right, was that Ripple's going to appeal Judge Torres' ruling and they're going to win on appeal and they're going to have won on all counts of this case. So on the programmatic sales, on the other distribution, on the secondary market sales, and then if they win on appeal on the institutional sales, that would be everything along with the charges against Brad and Chris for aiding and abetting getting surrendered and dropped completely. But if the SEC doesn't want to run the risk of that happening, and as all of the lawyers are pointing out, Ripple does have a very strong case to try to appeal at least on some of those contracts and deals that they did, some of those sales. They have a great case. So if the SEC wants to save face here and wants to be able to collect something, and good guy Gary Gensler wants to be able to wave a little check around, part of the billions of dollars that the SEC collects every single year from the fines and the charges that they are able to collect, billions of dollars every single year, we could see that check get cut, and we could see Ripple be able to proceed knowing that they have clarity on institutional sales going forward, as long as they're not with stipulations, lockup periods, and other things that make up an investment contract. Or, as we just covered, you bring in the middleman, the little friend called Uphold. And a huge shout out to CEO Simon McLaughlin. We've been waiting months for this announcement of the partnership to come out, ever since I interviewed him back in August. If you guys missed that interview, you guys can check it out in the playlist tab. It should be there in the playlist tab for interviews. I have all of the interviews there, and Simon McLaughlin, CEO of Uphold, was with us. And not only did he predict correctly that the appeal would be denied by Judge Torres, that did come through, but then he also had this announcement to make, right, that they were going to be working with Ripple to provide liquidity. But then he also stated that they're going to be offering the ability to trade out of equities on their platform as well going forward. So this becomes one of the best, really, I don't know, we should call them more of a bank, right? I think more of a bank or institution would be more of the proper term for Uphold. You could call them a broker dealer too. You basically call them a broker dealer bank, I guess, or an investment bank, because they have the ability to, sell securities now that they have a broker dealer license. And then they're also going to be offering, you can get your precious metals or exposure to precious metals on their platform, along with all of your digital assets. But then now they're going to be potentially the US nexus for institutions to get XRP from Ripple for ODL. That was the only thing that was missing for US institutions. We know that they can use ODL. We know that they can use XRP for on-demand liquidity. But it's just, how do they get XRP? Because Judge Torres ruled that those institutional sales were a security. Well, Ripple didn't wait around for a settlement to occur. They've already plugged in Uphold. Or maybe they already understand through negotiations that that's going to have to be what they need, which is what is confirmed by Judge Torres denying the appeal on programmatic sales. That confirms that as long as you just do a programmatic sale to an exchange, and then you have a blind bid-ask transaction for the institution on the other side of that, you're good to go. So now we have full clarity for institutions to fire up on-demand liquidity in the United States. That is where we're at right now, folks. I cannot wait to see this. This is going to be coming anytime soon. Couple last points that I wanted to finish up here. This is Steven's lawyer. And this cracked me up when I read this tonight. Michael Scotto is responding to this person who asked, does your case exist yet? You keep talking about it, but have you filed anything? Well, as we know, Steven already beat his case, and his lawyer confirms, yes, Steven Narioff has a case. It exists. We will be releasing all his filings in the near future. As his attorney, I just wish he would stop talking until then, but he is very eager to share his experience. Although I won't go into details, I will say everything he has said is true, and he has the receipts to prove it. i.e., the damages were massive. Hashtag stay tuned. And you bet we're going to be tuned. We've been waiting for so long for this vindication, and it's not enough to be vindicated. We want to see it completely executed in a court of law, seeking out the damages, bringing back out true free market capitalism without the SEC picking winners and losers. That is what we ask. And as Steven has been saying, and as I covered in this morning's episode, XRP has no ceiling as long as Ripple achieves its objectives. And he thinks that it's, very interesting to have the conversation about XRP, at least playing in part or whole the reserve currency role for XRP. Comparing it to the US dollar reserve currency. Yeah, that type of reserve currency conversation. Steven thinks that it's interesting to have that conversation, at least in part or whole, replacing the US dollar. And Michael's now saying that everything that Steven's been saying in regards to his case and the corruption is true. So we can't confirm, he just simply says XRP has no ceiling. He thinks it's interesting to have the reserve currency conversation, and he is vindicating us on all of the damages and the corruption. This is getting good, folks. This is getting real good. And as we shared here, this is why I titled tonight's show, All Eyes on Ripple XRP. The Ripple Roadshow has begun, and the XRP Roadshow has begun, along with Ripple, right? XRP is the heartbeat of Ripple. That's a direct quote from Brad Garlinghouse. So where Ripple goes, XRP goes. And Ripple's getting ready to go public, do that IPO. It's going to be one of the biggest IPOs done in the fintech space, probably. And what we're seeing right now, all eyes on Ripple XRP. I titled that because you can see it in the posture from Brad. Look at how comfy and cozy Brad Garlinghouse is sitting next to the CEO of PolySign, Jack McDonald. And also, Jack McDonald is also behind Standard Charter. Brad Garlinghouse discussing tokenization, the market, and major wins, like Ripple's partnership with Uphold. And this is from our good friend Ray Fuentes. Huge shout out to Ray, community director of Link2. And Link2, one of those platforms that is offering folks access to that equity. And like I said, Ripple is going to be the darling of the cryptocurrency space. When this thing goes public, this company really shoots off and it defeats the SEC. You get to carry around the trophy of defeating the SEC, which everybody hates the SEC. Nobody approves of the SEC on both sides of the aisle. And, the whole world has been watching the SEC screw up our capital markets and screw up the digital currency space here in this country. Now we get to carry that trophy around. And look how cozy Brad is there, sitting next to CEO of PolySign, Jack McDonald, institutional grade custody, signing that new deal with Uphold, that new partnership. And this is the beginning of the Ripple Roadshow, folks, which has already been underway. But now we get to see Brad a little bit more comfortable, a little bit more cozy, a little proper party to get the roadshow started. And what you're about to see executed over the next couple years is going to be pretty spectacular, folks, because what you're seeing is the final execution of a plan that has been years and potentially even decades in the making, right? When you look at the Ripple Ledger, most folks don't know this. The Ripple Ledger, the Ripple Payment Network, actually goes back to 2004. Ryan Fugger created it. And of course, we have connections to David Schwartz patenting DLT technology back in 1980s. That's the chief cryptographer of the XRPL and CTO of Ripple currently, David Schwartz, right? One of the three creators of XRP in 2012. But the XRP ledger was based off the Ripple Ledger, the Ripple Payment Protocol, which actually goes back to 2004. And the connections and the funding behind Ripple that goes back to the PayPal mafia and goes back to, Elon Musk's early, ideas for this types of, payment platforms. And just today it was reported Elon Musk saying that next year you won't even need a bank, that the X platform will act as your banking app. It's going to act as the everything app. And by next year, you won't even need a banking app on your phone because X will do it all for you. I think that he even said that you won't even need to have a bank account, was his exact words. Now, this is the type of transition where world wars are fought. This is the type of falling empire where you see internal chaos like we haven't seen in this country for decades, and some might argue even longer than that, right? We have a tremendous shift underway, and our community finds ourselves in a unique position where we understand the crazy conspiracy theory, but then we bring it back to how do we make some dang money? And that's what I want to talk about now as I wrap up my rant for the night. Let's get into your guys' questions, comments. If you haven't already, please smash the thumbs up. I appreciate you guys. If you guys can, all I ask is that you share our content out far and wide, especially the short form content. That usually does well. If you're trying to convince somebody new, don't send them my hour and a half long rant. that's covering all of the assets at more of an advanced level. Just get them started with the 1 to 3 minute short content where we're just breaking things down on a more simple, much more bite-sized content that's easy to consume for the new folks. But please, guys, share it out far and wide. And if you haven't already, it really helps when you smash that thumbs up and then drop a comment down below. Let me know how you're doing here tonight. Let me know any questions, comments, the moves that you're making right now. What do you guys think about the markets? We have gold back above 2,000. We won't need banks. Daniel, that is true. Daniel, that is true. And we're seeing the banks having to do a shift. We're seeing Jamie Dimon selling stock in JP Morgan Chase for the first time since he took the helm. And so, yeah, it's being confirmed. What else are you guys working with? Now, we're looking at the tokenization of real estate as well. We're looking at investing in real estate in a traditional way too, but obviously looking at how we can tokenize these real estates and working on ways to get access to folks who otherwise wouldn't have it. That's very important. Absolutely. Give us some news. Well, I just ran through an hour of news, Mark. So the news we already went through. Right now, let's take a look once again. We're looking at our Bitcoin, or your guys' Bitcoin. It ain't my Bitcoin. You know I don't own any of this stuff. 34,000 for our Bitcoin as we watch it on the 4-hour chart here, hanging out sideways. Talk about upcoming XRP events. I just did, Mark. Ripple is about to take over Swell too. That's the other thing. I'm glad that you mentioned that. Ripple is about to take over Swell. Take over Dubai with their Swell conference. And this is so massive. As you're seeing right now, the war taking place in the Middle East. We also have a tremendous shift to DLT technology as the Middle East seeks to tokenize some of their commodities, natural resources that run those countries over there, right? Such a big part of the GDP and the economies over there is those resources, that oil. And so as we see them explore partnerships with Ripple, which you have to understand, Saudi Arabia Monetary Authority has been talking and been in the same room with Ripple for years, going back years. Another hundo from Stuart. Strap on, guys. This will get crazy, but if you know, you know. Be smart. Pain before gain. Stuart, it's so true. It's so true. That's what we see here in the markets. Cooling back off here today. XRP, taking a look. 54 cents for our XRP. Okay. Back up to 589, almost achieved. 586 here on Qcoin. 589, almost achieved. And we're back down to 54 cents right now. One of the most rigged charts in existence, though. You guys already know the deal. Then we look here at our Bitcoin. 34,000. LOL, 76 minutes long. I thought I had energy. XRP couch, that's the deal, man, is that sometimes, like this week was super busy for me. Just so busy right now with everything that we got cooking. It's the end of the year push. And so we're in full hustle mode right now. Been spending a lot of time with the family too. And that's why I come on here for the late night session. And that's why I ran for an hour and 15 minutes here tonight. We're already at the hour 17 minute mark. Is because I got a lot to catch up on. And there's so much happening on a daily basis. Right? I mean, I could do 2-hour long shows every single day. I used to back on TikTok. And then I would do 4 and 6 hour shows on Sundays and Saturdays. That's what we used to do on TikTok. Isn't that crazy? Is that we do like hour-long lives on TikTok every single day. And then every once in a while we do like, I think the longest I ever did was like a 6-hour show on a Sunday. That was crazy. Black Monday is coming. That's what I'm watching right now. We've already started to rollovers for some of this. Crypto's hanging out, but I see a big correction is coming in here. If we get the news that they've delayed or potentially that they deny one of them, see, even though they might be planning on approving some of these, hopefully, there's a lot of speculation. A lot of people are just throwing out, oh, rumor has it that the spot ETF got approved today. There's no basis for that other than they're trying to keep Bitcoin pumped up and they're trying to hype it up. And they want views. They want that X monetization money. And so they're just throwing out that stuff. But right now, even if they're approving some of the Bitcoin spot ETFs, say January is the next major deadlines. If they, what I'm watching for is that maybe they deny one of them right now. And that could be a big hit, big rollover. And right now we're already seeing, the stocks are pulling back and the correction's already well underway. When you have Larry Fink saying it's a flight to quality on mainstream news, that makes all the money managers realize, oh crap, I guess I can't just chill in a 60-40 portfolio and keep on making my investors 5% every year and everybody's going to be happy, slappy, and have a good old time. And these money managers and these financial advisors have all of their people ringing them up the phone right now asking, what the hell are you doing? Why did my 401k get cut 20% last year? My 401k was down 10% last year. It's down another 5% this year. What's the plan? And he said, whoa, well, I just heard Larry Fink said that it's a flight to quality now, so we might make an allocation towards precious metals. We might pull out of these high-flying tech stocks that are set for a big correction. We might not just keep you parked in treasury bonds that continue to pay out a yield that barely beats inflation, and when you're running with the government phony CPI lie data. How about that plan? Right, as they're destroying the currency at levels that are closer to 10 to 20% year over year. They're destroying at 10 to 20%, and you want to give me 5% on a 2-year treasury or on a 10-year treasury. Even worse, right? And now this is where the short-term treasuries have really spiked up. And so you can get well over a 5% yield on 3-month, 6-month T-bills. So some of these short-term durations, this is where the likes of Warren Buffett and the big money guys and a lot of folks have moved to. And they don't know where to go next. That's the problem. Is they don't know because they're not doing the research on companies like we are, like Ripple, like these innovative companies like Uphold, that is more than just an exchange. They're a prime dealer broker, and they're giving folks access to assets that are not available almost anywhere else, i.e. providing XRP to us during the lawsuit, right? It was one of the few places that U.S. investors could actually get XRP. Now, these are the types of companies, these are the type of deals that I'm looking at right now, is innovative fintech companies, not just AI hype, not just the flavor of the day, not just, oh, this company says they're going to leverage metaverse technologies and the stock goes up 5% and I'm going to, let me go buy on Robinhood. This is how retail gets wrecked. Is because they wait to read something on Twitter and they wait for the stock to go up 5% after the announcement is made. And they go, let me go to my Robinhood app and buy, $100 worth of yada yada stock. And then they wonder why they get wrecked, right? That's not where the big money's made. And for us, that's why we're looking at the deals that haven't gone public yet, i.e. private equity opportunities where the real money's made. Now, I got a big one here, Shell. Appreciate that. Shellfish. Shell, another one from Australia with a 30 spot. I appreciate that so much, guys. So much love tonight. God bless you guys. You guys are the reason why I do this here every single day. Zach, time to book a trip down to the land down under. Live show with Stewart and company on the Barrier Reef. Meet up with your Discord group in Australia. Absolutely. Absolutely. I know we do have some Discord family down there too. And I know if word got out that we were going to Australia, I know the Gold Coast Conference is taking place in March. I already have like 4 or 5 trips already booked. We already have our first Discord meetup in January. We already have the Vancouver Resource Investment Conference with another Discord meetup in January. So we already have 2 Discord meetups in January, along with what will be, piggybacking off of the Vancouver Resource Investment Conference. That's in Vancouver. And then we also are playing on XRP Vegas, of course. And then I also have another couple trips planned already too. And so we're going to be moving around a lot. And Australia is such a far stretch. I need an XRP at like $5 before we can do the land down under trip. Because when I go over there, we're gonna have a lot of fun. And so I'm gonna need to save up my pennies. I'm gonna need to save up my silver. Or if XRP could just go to a few bucks, we might be able to take a couple more vacations. No, all jokes aside, Australia is on the list. And we will be going on, right now. I'm going to be honest. Okay. I'm going to be dead honest with you guys. I feel comfortable here at home in the United States of America, and I like staying, I'm cozy in the US. And when I start to venture out into other places, I especially with the fam, it's one thing when it's just me and I just have to defend myself, but with the fam, it's a little different scenario. You know what I'm saying? And so now I'm trying to figure out how to do the worldwide tour. But we definitely got that plan in the works. You bet. Yeah, you bet. It's a different scenario now as we move about, but I know we're going to have a big party in Australia. We'll be definitely doing some warm spots, some warm spots for sure. Which I know it gets hot in Australia. Absolutely. No immediate plans to go to Asia. Singapore would be interesting to me. And maybe Tokyo, Japan, I guess. Philippines too. I do want to explore the world. But I'm waiting for the World War to end. I say that jokingly, but it's not really a joke. But definitely, we're going to be making some moves, but that's probably not going to be for a while here. But plenty of travel throughout the United States. You bet that is going to be happening for sure. I need a beach with your Second Amendment. You guys know me. Yep. See, that's the problem when XRP goes, right? We're going to be able to afford the trips and we're going to be able to afford to have some fun. But then we're going to be the XRP guys, the big targets on our back. Depending on how high it goes, I guess. If the haters are right and XRP only goes to $5, oh shoot, I guess we'll be limited. No, that's not going to be the case. We know what happens here. Daniel's in the Philippines. Let me know where you guys are at. Where are you guys at tonight? Let me take some more questions. Meet up in Palau. Linda, that's a great point. Palau's on my list now. I had never even heard of Palau. Now you're telling me that they want to build their stablecoin on the XRP ledger? Okay. Might even become a digital residence of Palau. I'm starting to look a little bit into that. That's a little bit more down the road for me. But the digital residence deal, I'm actually considering it more so now that KuCoin kicked me off their exchange. I'm thinking, well, if I really want to go through the legit way, I could just get a digital residency of Palau, and then I would get access to KuCoin and probably a bunch of other exchanges. Meanwhile, I'm in the United States and I don't have a market to actually legitimately trade futures on. And that's been frustrating me. But Coinbase is supposed to have futures here soon. Coinbase has futures in their worldwide exchange, but not in kind of their global exchange, I guess, but not in their US exchange. They have the approval, but they're waiting for the full launch, I guess, green light. I don't know what they're waiting for. XRP Couch, thank you for the 5 spot, brother. Appreciate that love. Aunt Lynn's in Vancouver, Washington, Louisiana. We got Miami in the house, Costa Rica. Absolutely. With my gourmet coffee on the table. Martin, there you go. That's what's up. UK in the house. So many Aussies in the late night shows. Yeah, so Bitcoin's just hanging out right now. The volume's back down. I'm going to be watching for Bitcoin to pick back up into this weekend, though. It's going to be interesting. We get volume coming back in. And where's our... I removed it. I removed it. Let me show you guys. You got to get the moon phases on the Bitcoin. So right here you go. October 28th. That is going to be tomorrow, or depending on where you're at, it's already 9:22 on the West Coast. So that means it's already midnight on the East Coast. Australia, you know, you guys are just finishing up your Friday, your day at work, getting ready to hang out with us. Appreciate you guys. And so, yeah, so it is, what is it called? The Hunter's Moon, right? Hunter's Moon, Harvest Moon, and it just so happens to be a lunar eclipse as well. What time is the partial lunar eclipse of the full moon this weekend? The full moon on the 28th of October will have a red tinge for viewers in the UK, Europe, Asia, and Africa as part of the moon passes into Earth's shadows. Wow. So the maximum of the eclipse will be at 9:14 p.m. in London, 10:14 in Berlin, 11:14 in Moscow, 1:44 in Mumbai, India, and 4:14 a.m. in Hong Kong. The penumbral stage begins about 2 hours before and ends about 2 hours after the maximum. You can check the exact timings for your location using free software like, yeah, look at that. They plug in. They got their affiliate link, thenewscientist.com. Look at them. A little affiliate there. Yep. On the night of Saturday, so that's going to be tomorrow night. So we're going to have to be watching that one tomorrow night. And I see another, Stuart, you're crazy, bro. Stuart, my man, another fitty. He says maybe I should buy some XRP. Yeah, I think that's the thing. When I talk about these price predictions for XRP, so many in the community are going to dump on us. This is what I'm so concerned about and why I keep on putting out the warnings about 5 to 10, and then we come back down in a major way. There is so much sell pressure between all-time high. There's so much sell pressure even at $1 and $2, guys, let alone all-time high. But watch out for that move, okay? But we know it's coming, right? Pull back down to $3, pull back down to $2, set the new launch pad, build up, and then we set utility free. And utility is what takes us to, the double digits and beyond. But we'll be watching that, okay? Let's go to the daily chart. Zoom out here. So this is our chart right here. You guys see, yeah. So we're coming in here on that full moon. It's going to be coming in here today, Saturday, October 28th. We go back though. This is actually when we got the new moon. Okay. And what's interesting about this pattern is that we've been seeing bullish energy around new moons and bearish energy around full moons, but then the eclipses bring in even more powerful energy. And you already know who we got to give love to, who we got to give credit to. Huge shout out to Waters Above Crypto for putting us on this moon phase indicator, along with some of the other secret sauce. We learned so much from him. And I had him on my show about a year ago, I think, or maybe that was earlier this year. It's been a while. He's one of the few guys that I've actually watched on technical analysis, but he showed us this moon phase indicator, and I thought this was crazy woo-woo crap. You know what I'm saying? Horoscopes and your signs, and no, I'm a this and I'm a that, and I feel this way. For what it's worth, this is the only indicator that I put on my Bitcoin chart. I put the moon phase, I put the volume, and sometimes I check the moving average, And then other than that, I'm just looking at my fibs and I'm looking at support and resistance. I'm looking at big psychological numbers and I'm looking at the narrative and how it's lining up with, for whatever reason, this moon phase indicator that we've thrown into our charts, and it's just worked so incredibly well. But anyways, we had a solar eclipse come in around the new moon. That was October 14th, just 2 weeks ago. And sure enough, did the bullish energy come in right after that solar eclipse. We get the fake news spot ETF approved that takes us back up to 30K. But oh no, we weren't done. We rallied all the way into that full moon lunar eclipse sacrifice coming in. Oh boy. Now the Bitcoin bros don't want to hear this. They don't want to acknowledge that, right? But it's just the truth. And when I zoom out on the daily, when I show you guys, let's go back actually. Let's zoom out even further to the weekly. And I'm sorry, this chart's jacked up. Let me bring this into scale for you guys so you can see what I'm talking about. Now, literally the same thing occurred. Now, last year in 2022, we had the lunar eclipse in May, and that's what started the cryptocurrency pullback in May, was around the Luna collapse. Remember that one? Well, that just so happened to be around a lunar eclipse there in May. Go figure. Go figure. And then we were looking at the November 8th lunar eclipse, because once again, in October and November, you go back to back, just like we are this October, you go back to back with the eclipses. Same thing right here. And in this one, October, you got the solar eclipse. And then November 8th, we knew it was coming in. And sure enough, Sam Bankman-Fried's sacrifice brings us back down to 15.5 with a major sacrifice. Full moon lunar eclipse, go figure. And so now we're watching this, and you can see it here on the weekly chart, and we're about to see it on the phase here as I turn back on the moon phase. New moon brings us in. What do we do that next week after the new moon? Solar eclipse, pump up to 30,000. What do we do that last week here that we just finished? We pump all the way up to 35,000. And now we watch what happens next. And this is why I am watching for us to get checked here once again. Now, the other thing that I've shown you guys on the charts is that in 2019, we did a 342% bull trap rally from 3,000 to 13,000. And then March 2020 happened and we get killed back down to 3,000. 342% bull trap rally. I remember it like it was yesterday. I was literally, as the kids would say, aping in, going all in on XRP all through 2019 because I thought we were going to flip the switch. Bitcoin had pumped back up to 13,000. And at the time, I was offloading my Bitcoin at 12,000 actually into XRP. And so that worked out temporarily until Bitcoin went up to 69,000 and XRP didn't participate in the bull run, but that's neither here nor there. Now we got a big bag of XRP and the rest is history, and we laugh about it. Bitcoin comes back down to 3,000, and that was March 2020. Now we watch where when you see all of the alignments, literally the planetary alignments, the moon phase, the eclipses, for whatever it's worth. I'm not really a woo-woo guy, but if I can apply this to make some dang money, then God bless it. Put it on my chart. And that's what we've done. And it's incredible to see how it's worked out. Right now, I'm not trading, like I said. But I'm just trying to mentally prepare our community for what I believe is coming, and I believe that is a big crash. And another one to look at too, I saw that Waters Above had actually tweeted this out. Hex just getting killed. Hex has been pumping. Hex has been pumping like crazy, but we need to watch it. let's see, what did... Holy cow. Hex is crazy. I'm checking this chart right now. Guys, if you want me to take a look at any other coins or you want to ask about any other projects, let me know right now. Holy smokes. Hex is something else. Hex is up. Take a look at this, folks. 358. I thought that's what I heard Waters Above say. Actually, I saw his tweet. I didn't watch his video. I saw his tweet. 360% for Hex. Getting set up for another sacrifice here. Oh, look at that. Salvador. Thank you, Salvador, for the 10 spot. Appreciate that love. Appreciate that support. You guys have been great tonight. Thank you so much. Let me take some time to answer your questions, comments. Thank you so much. Cypherium moving. What is Rencom Network? Now, usually I don't look up poop coins. What is it? Rencom Network? RNT? So it's a brand new coin that you're shilling in my comments? Is that what I see? Who was that? Nimbus? Rencom. Why are we shilling a brand new coin here? I know you're not shilling. You asked about it, or maybe you are shilling. I hesitate to look at a coin. Oh, wait. This is actually, my apologies. This is just Coin Market Cap. So this coin might have been around for a while. Sometimes Coin Market Cap just listed this coin. Is this coin brand new? What type of crap coin is this? Is revolutionizing the rental landscape. Okay, it has, what, 2 sentences written about it? When was this thing launched? What type of crap is this? Nimbus, what kind of... I don't know, saw it on another channel. Okay. Well, at the very least, if I can keep you from investing in something that, I don't know. I mean, maybe it is a good investment. Who knows? I'm not here to be your financial advisor, tell you what to do. That's up to you. But interesting. Brand new project. Someone said it on another channel. Famous last words. I heard it from a YouTuber. Brand new. I can't find much data on this thing. Interesting. What else are you guys working with? H-bar? What has H-bar been doing? Flare is rocketing up. Is that true? Flare's been so disappointing. Oh, Flare did spike up. Okay. Now, Flare's up 5% on the day. That's good to see. 5% on the day. Fantastic. But here's your all-time chart. Down 87% from launch. And good news for Binance US clients, I think that you guys are finally getting your Flare tokens from the airdrop. That's right. Binance US is just now giving folks their Flare tokens. So this is what's been so frustrating for Flare, is so many folks didn't even get their tokens until the price had already dumped 50% plus, right? On top of the more broader disappointments from the projects, but nonetheless, Flare apparently still working on something. I guess we'll see. Hugo Filion making some stupid comments about the XRP community. Not the best thing to do after you use the XRP community and gave us a token airdrop, essentially using the community. But nonetheless, we'll see if Hugo and the Flare team's able to ever get something done that matters. Okay, so Hedera basically hanging out here at 5 cents. So, it looks to me like Hedera has, really decent support here about this 5 cent level. What did it go down to? Went all the way back below 4 cents briefly. That was earlier this year. Yeah. This is the all-time chart for Hedera. I guess let me I can pull up some of these. Perpetual contract. That's there. You know, what's interesting with some of these cryptos is where the liquidity comes. I mean, there's just not much depth of liquidity on a lot of these cryptocurrencies. It's pretty incredible. Like even for HBAR, when you pull up for the sources for it, you know, there's all these perpetual futures contracts with Tether. There's, you know, HBAR against the South Korean won from BitHump. I mean, I'll show you guys what I'm looking at right here. When you search up HBAR, right, the sources here, I mean, there's really not that many great sources unless I'm missing. Okay, here's HBAR USD from Coinbase. Let's go pull that up. Like I said earlier this year, or I guess that was in June. Sorry, that was in June when HBAR went below 4 cents briefly. But looks like it's got good support here at 5%, back up over the last couple of weeks with the rest of the space. Kind of what everything's been doing. What else should we look up, folks? Millennials are very aware. Yeah, I agree. There are quite a few millennials that are waking up. They're realizing, oh crap, I'm not going to be able to do what Grandpappy did and do the white picket fence American dream and be happy slappy in my 401k. Algorand, yeah. Casper will replace ETH. So many competitors, the Ethereum. That's what I'm banking on, is that Ethereum gets replaced by a handful of other legitimate projects that actually get what Ethereum is trying to do without the gas fees. And I also do believe that XRPL will take away a significant chunk of what Ethereum is doing. And the reason why I believe that is because the developers are working on the EVM sidechain right now as we speak. The EVM sidechain, which settles in XRP, might be a little bit better of an option for conducting your EVM smart contract. And why that's so big is just like with XDC, it allows you to move all of the EVM smart contracts, ERC20 tokens, right on over to the XRP ledger, which do we want the tens of thousands of scams and poop coins from the Ethereum ledger? No. But we want the legitimate ones. And we want to, you know, just have that liquidity source through XRP is going to be good for us XRP holders. This is what we've been waiting to see, and it's finally coming. You know, so much that's been, you know, that they've been building behind the scenes is coming to fruition as we speak. Okay, Nimbus says, while Rencom Network's decision to bridge RNT onto the XRP ledger is significant in its own right, it also coincides with a crucial milestone in the development of the XRP ledger. Okay, Nimbus, now you got my attention. Okay, it's actually going to be going to the XRP ledger. A lot of talk about ICP. I think that ICP is, you know, lofty goals. What they're trying to do is pretty incredible, but for me, I haven't been interested. Okay, this has been a rough go at it. Got to scale this chart. Sorry, my apologies. Let me find where this thing... Holy cow, this thing dumped. I forgot. This thing was one of the biggest dumps in the crypto space. What the heck? Is this chart jacked? What is going on? Why is... Why is ICP USDT on, where did I source this? Binance. When did it go up to 2,000? That's not true. That's not true. Let me, this is jacked up. Let me go to ICP. All-time high was 750. So it did go crazy. All-time high was 750 for ICP. God, this thing's gone down so much. Down 99.52%. Now it is pumping here, up 4.48%, pumping on the day. But I don't know. I haven't done a deep dive on ICP. So a lot of these projects I really probably shouldn't speak on because I haven't done a deep dive. But that's pretty brutal from 750 down to, what's it trading at? $3. That's a rough go at it. Where's some of our other favorites? Solana has been pumping, I thought, right? Didn't it pump this week? Yeah. Back up this week for Solana. This is the weekly. Back up from about 26.8 all the way up to 32.3. Up about 20% on the week. Up about 68% on the month. Okay. And look at that all-time high chart, though. This thing got dumped so hard. And there were so many VCs behind this coin that I don't trust it. I still don't trust it. I think a lot of the VCs got out on that ride down right there. But yeah, I'm good on Solana. Way too many VCs and manipulation behind that project. Cardano up about 4% on the day, up 18% on the week. Crypto pump. Love to see it. Up 21% on the month. It's pretty decent for Cardano. All the way up. $3 all the way down to 30 cents. Rough go at it for Charles and the Cardano family. Stuart had to drop another one. Boring, not investment advice. XRP, XLM, XDC, and a couple others. Physical gold and silver, that's it. Cash on the side. Is that insane? Well, I don't know what you're allowed to do down there in the land down under, but, you know, we talked about a little bit of freedom seeds in the form of precious metals, if you know what I'm talking about. Yeah, that's me too, Stuart. And, you know, I got my precious metals. I got my essentials. I got my little garden. And we just have been trying to stack as much cash as possible to buy these assets when they go on the cheap, on the low. And the deals are coming in as we speak. What are we seeing right now, though? We're seeing some of these pump pretty significantly. Our Stellar up 4.74% on the week. And it did kind of trail along with XRP, of course, as usual. Now, that all-time high for Stellar, 93.81. Yeah, that's right. 94 cents, right up to about $1. So here's that Stellar chart zoomed out all the way, you know, all the way back up in here. May 2021, when that thing went pretty crazy along with XRP. And then, yeah, back down here to 11 cents. Really good support here at 8 cents right here all through the last year. 8 to 10 cent support for XLM. One of those coins that for me is much easier to trade, right? I've already traded out of XLM one time and I was able to accumulate way more XRP doing so. And I watch XLM and I still have, I have gathered another bag of XLM, but I'll be looking to offload that at some other levels. I don't get emotional. I don't get married to my XLM. And you know, it's so easy for me with all these other coins. XRP is the only coin where I'm like, this is a reserve currency on my balance sheet and I'm going to leverage this asset. I'm not going to sell it. Where some of these other ones, it's just like, give me the money, let's get out of here and let's run. I don't want to hold on to this. And the XLM narrative is great. It's fantastic. And the partnerships and adoption are there. It's not as significant as Ripple and XRP. It's not even close, in my opinion. But it is still significant. And I do expect XLM to do really well during this next bull run because it's been one of the suppressed assets. So Stuart, along with showing his support, is sharing kind of what we've all been, kind of doing, where we see these suppressed assets, XRP, XLM, XDC, have been suppressed. They didn't get to experience full bull run, just like all the other cryptocurrencies that had been around that, were really well known. They were actually liquid. For a lot of these coins, you couldn't even trade them. You couldn't even get access. A lot of folks still don't know where to get XRP at, where to get XLM at, XDC at. And XLM is kind of an easier one because it's been on Coinbase. It's been on the big exchanges here in the US this whole time. It wasn't delisted like XRP. Getting XDC is a different story. Excuse me. And, as we've been talking about, the more that they pull back, right, the slingshot on these assets, the further that they suppress them, keeping the lid on them, right, the further we're going to go when they do get set free. But the problem is that as this is, the timeline's been extended, more and more people are getting desperate and more people are getting in tougher, more difficult financial situations. On top of that, more people have lost faith. And so this is why I say the sell pressure that comes in from $5 to $10 is going to be like we've never seen before for XRP. I expect it to crash a lot of the exchanges. That's the key. Stack enough coins. You have no problem selling for nice profits. Keep the XRP. That's it. Digital orgy, right? Is it's like with Bitcoiners. I still listen to the Bitcoin bros and they crack me up. They talk about how most, sophisticated traders in crypto, they trade other cryptos and alts to get more Bitcoin, I should say. Yeah, okay, whatever, bro. What we do is we make more trades so that we can stack more XRP, more precious metals, more real estate. No interest in Bitcoin. Thank you. No, thanks, but no thanks. We'll pass on that deal, right? But to each their own. The Bitcoin bros, I wish them luck. Patience is key, Stuart. Absolutely. Patience is key. Now, for those of you guys who haven't been able to get into our group yet, just go check our Patreon. That's how you join our Discord group. And our Discord group has been going for 2 years now. And every Saturday we have our weekly calls. That's an exclusive call where you get a chance to answer or ask me questions. We hop on a call with the family and I go through and I've been dropping more exclusive content over there. And our plan for this fall and winter is to drop an incredible amount of educational content on some of these investments, some of the wealth protection strategies. We're really going to get to the tactical strategies and how to implement them. And what I want to do is bring a new level of accountability to our group too, and actually get folks to take action, not just learn about it, not just talk about it, not just tweet about it, not just talk about it in a Twitter space, but to actually do the deals, actually build the relationships. And there's always something that we can be doing. It's hard to stay focused right now with many distractions. It's hard to, stay positive with the amount of negativity that we see out there. But that's why I say protect your energy right now. Show me your friends and I'll show you your future. So, if you want to join my group, that's fine. If you don't join my group, get tapped in with somebody. You show me your friends and I'll show you your future is what my mentor's been telling me. And I've been working on leveling up my community. And what we've done is we've been able to meet so many fantastic people by, putting out our content. And that's why I ask you guys, at the bare minimum, can you just please help me by tapping that thumbs up, leaving a comment down below. If you can, share our content out far and wide. We really appreciate that. And that's all we ask. You guys know I got my affiliate links for precious metals, for cryptocurrency exchanges, for wallets. That's it. I have nothing else. No deals, no trading. I'm not going to be trading for you. If you want to know my trades, hopefully I'll be picking back up on trading here again soon. The only place that I talk about trading is in my Discord group. Watch out for the scammers. Got to make that disclaimer. Unfortunately, these days, the scammers are relentless. No, I'm not going to trade for you. No, I don't want your money. If you're not talking to me in Patreon, if you're not talking to me in Discord, or you're not getting, from an email from my verified email, then you aren't talking to me, because I'm no longer responding to Twitter, to TikTok, to Instagram, to Facebook, to nothing. These social media platforms are not helping us out, and I got a full-time team. Guys, I literally have a full-time team of people, and huge shout out to all of our moderators that are blocking, reporting, and trying to take out these scammers as fast as we can. And we're trying to do everything that we can to protect our community. So stay safe out there. If you do want to get in touch with us, if you do want to get tapped in with a group of like-minded individuals, that is available. Our exclusive Patreon Discord group. Get tapped in over there. It's at my website, zachrector.com. I see Stuart wanted to finish it off with another 50 spot. Patience, let people trade their poop coins, stay the path, you will win. Stuart, it's so true. It's so true. We get tempted, we get anxious, and it's very frustrating, right? But for me, I find that that's where in the business arena, I get to show up every single day, and I know that there's something for me to be doing. And what we're doing is we build out a strategy for investment. And then once you have that strategy built out for your investments, that's basically, automatic. There's different ways to track your portfolio. There's different ways to, manage and track all of your investments, to track your budget, to track your cash flow, all of your accounting for your businesses. But once you have the investment program kind of implemented, that's automated. And you can automate that now through direct deposit. It makes it, super easy, where you direct deposit to your exchange, and then every week you're buying a set amount of digital assets, or, every week you're sending money to your exchange, and then you're trying to time and buy the dips. Every time we buy the dip, you're moving in. But that is automated. And then on the daily basis, what we need to focus on is the next task to move the needle forward when it comes to our businesses, when it comes to our personal lives, right? It's not just crypto. We want to have that full encompassing. If we can achieve some sort of work-life balance, that's fantastic. It's always a struggle for folks like myself that are trying to really push things hard and know how urgent the timeline is, right? For me, I never thought that we'd still be picking up XRP at 50 cents post-clarity, post-lawsuit. I never thought that we would still be here, but we'll take advantage of it while it's here. And we know it's not going to last long. And whether we go to $5 or 589, I'm so glad to bring you guys along with me. It's going to be one hell of a journey, and I hope you guys are ready for it. And I appreciate all of you guys' support. It's been an absolute pleasure here. I see that we've been live now for 2 hours. What a session. And we're going to go live for another hour or so tomorrow, weekly call with our Discord group. Like I said, it's a great platform for you to be able to get in touch with me, ask your questions, comments, and have a little conversation, have a little fun, and talk about the things that we can't talk about here on the public platforms. As always, I appreciate your support, appreciate the love, and I will see you guys tomorrow in the next one. God bless all of you guys. Have a great night.